What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Kind of a fun video today, I hope. So, I had been asked by a viewer to take a personality test. They took a stab at who they think I am or might be, and they were just curious. Now, I suppose I am as well, at least a little bit, because I'm going to do this and let you be a part of this. But I don't know much about this. I've heard these personalities mentioned by someone else. I don't quite understand what they are. I guess there are 16 of them, judging by this URL. But, from what I understand, some guy somewhere wrote some book where he tried to place every single personality out there in a well defined category, at least as best as possible. Now, in my opinion, and forgive me because I'm very ignorant about this, so it is what it is. It's not an educated opinion necessarily, not in this specific context, but I don't believe, I could be wrong, but I don't believe you could put people in these well defined specific categories very neatly. I have a hard time seeing how that's possible. But so I see these as perhaps just kind of rough guidelines. So I'm not saying that there's no truth to this, but I'm also saying that it's not absolute truth, right? Or that these personality tests will tell you, will have anything to say about you as an individual insofar as how you fit into society or whether or not you're going to be successful and all that other kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't know. I think there might be some truth to it. There definitely is some truth to it, but I don't know how scientific, I suppose you could say, this stuff is. But it's interesting. It's um it's something I've decided to engage in, if only for the fuck of it. And I wouldn't be so sure your personality is set in stone either. You know what I mean? Some some traits are probably genetically predetermined, but I think we also have our environment to account for who we ultimately become. And I think it's an ever evolving, ever changing process. But anyway, without any further ado, let's get into this. And I guess I'm going to comment a little bit on these questions if I feel like it. Answer honestly. Try not to leave any neutral answers. Okay, so right off the bat, this test, even though it gives you the neutral option, it's trying to bias you one way or another, right? What if you're just neutral? So that seems like a flaw to me, but again, I'm kind of ignorant about this. You find it difficult to introduce yourself to other people. I disagree strongly. And here's another thing. This is a continuum, a scale, right? Agree, somewhat agree, I guess you could say, or I strongly agree, I agree. I'm interpreting these little circles, obviously, right? Somewhat agree, I'm neutral. I somewhat disagree, I disagree, and I strongly disagree, right? We've seen these tests before. Um, what if I need more options? You know what I mean? It's not an exact science. That's all I'm saying, right? Maybe some of us would only need two or three of these or maybe just two little circles on each side. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if you're someone who would strongly agree or strongly disagree, you're very polarized, you don't need any of this other stuff, right? I don't know. I don't know if this makes sense or if it's relevant, but it's all I'm saying is that it's kind of arbitrary, right? And obviously open to interpretation, the interpretation of the designer of the test. But fuck it, let's go on. You often get so lost in thoughts that you ignore or forget your surroundings. Without getting too technical here, what can you define often? What do you mean by ignoring or forgetting my surroundings, and why are they the same? Blah blah blah. Okay. Sorry, I'm just gonna have to disagree. I get so lost in my thoughts that I forget my surroundings? No, I strongly disagree with that. You try to respond to your emails as soon as possible and cannot stand them? No, I disagree. I hate email. You find it easy to stay relaxed even when there is some pressure. Well, what do you mean by some pressure? How much pressure? What if there is no pressure in my life and I just lead a relaxed life? Do I find it easy to relax? And another thing is, well, this is how I feel today, but tomorrow I might feel differently. Something might happen, it'll change my mind, or I'll remember an instance that I might not be thinking of right now where I was under pressure and it was difficult to stay relaxed. And there are different types of pressure too, you know what I mean? These aren't perfect. This is I just don't see this as very scientific. That's all I'm saying. Do I find it easy to stay relaxed even when there is some pressure? Yeah, when there's some pressure, I find it very easy to stay relaxed. When there's a lot of pressure, it becomes a little bit more difficult. You see what I'm saying? You do not usually initiate conversations. Well, it depends if I like the person or not. But if I want to, I do. If I don't, I don't. I guess we're going to have to be neutral on this one, right? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. But maybe I'm questioning too much. Maybe I should just shut up and, submit. You rarely do something just out of sheer curiosity. Rarely. Define rarely. Can you put a percentage on that? Do I? Sheer curiosity. Yeah, I guess so. I don't just do things out of sheer curiosity. That's kind of stupid. I do it because, like drinking blood, for example, I didn't do it because I was just curious. I was curious, but I researched it, I looked into it, I had heard about it before, and I wanted to know what the potential risks were, what people had to say as far as the flavor and the experience. So yeah, even though I did it out of curiosity, it wasn't just sheer curiosity. I wonder what it feels like to fall off a cliff. You know what I mean? Let me try that. So I don't think I ever do anything just out of sheer curiosity. I feel superior to other people. I do to some and not others. But even though I recognize that I might not be as smart as someone, or I might not be as handsome, or I might not be as athletic, or there are people that are in some respects superior to me, I do tend to find things that, where I am superior, right? And I think it's especially if maybe it's an insecurity, maybe it's whatever it is, maybe it's just natural competitiveness. If someone is bigger and taller than myself, for example, right? I often wonder, or I think to myself and I convince myself that, well, I'm faster, so I could take them down. Or I'm not, they look like a pussy, right? They'd be scared of, the sight of blood would freak them out, for example. Whereas I'm more vicious. If we're talking about, physical supremacy and fighting somebody. So, it's another tricky question. I'm gonna say I agree because I tend to look for things where, even though I notice stuff where I'm not as good as some people, I tend to find things where I'm better than they are. Maybe especially if I feel inferior in some way, I look for qualities that I possess that are superior. So I don't know. How do I answer that question? Should I be neutral? No, we're just gonna agree. Being organized is more important to you than being adaptable. Mm, I would have to disagree with that. You are usually highly motivated and energetic. I mean, sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not, but more often than not, yeah, I am. I got goals. I got shit to do, man. It has to get done. Winning a debate matters less to you than making sure no one gets upset. No, I don't care if people get upset. I don't really care about winning. I care about learning. I mean, I do care about winning. Obviously, I want to be right. There's no doubt about it. But I feel like I would want a third option here. I'd rather learn something new than teach somebody because most of the times, especially in a debate, people don't want to learn. They just want to be right. And I don't give a fuck if people get upset, period. So I guess I would have to agree, even though winning isn't the most important thing to me. It's more important than hurting your fucking feelings. You often feel as if you have to justify yourself to other people. Fuck no. I defend myself, but I often turn that into an attack. Is that justifying myself? No, I don't feel I have to justify myself, but I just want to win the debate, I guess. So we'll disagree with that one. But maybe I'm wrong. Your home and work environments are quite tidy. Fuck no. Well, I mean, they are, and if they are, that's not because of me. So, yeah. Yin and yang, love and marriage. Next. You do not mind being the center of attention. Do I mind? Uh, it's sometimes awkward, but I can handle it. Sure. You consider yourself more practical than creative. Hmm. See, this is one of those things where, well, how do I feel today? But I would say in general, I'm both. I can't really choose either one, to be honest. Yeah, I really can't. I'd lean toward practical, to be honest, but I'm also creative. I don't know. We're just gonna have to be right in the fucking middle. People can rarely upset you. Can. Can and rarely. I have a problem with those two together. Do they? Do they not? No, I mean, what do you mean by upset? I disagree with people a lot, but am I upset by it? And look, whatever I say, those of you who have watched my channel, you're going to say, oh, that's not how I see you, right? But isn't this my personality test? Isn't this about me? People can rarely, I wouldn't say rarely. You see, it really depends on what environment I'm in, right? If I'm surrounded by assholes who disagree with me and attack me a lot, then yeah, I get upset often by them. But if I'm surrounded by like-minded people who, are easygoing, then yeah, they rarely upset me. Can people upset me? I guess they can. Yeah, I would have to agree. Because looking at the number of interactions that I have with people or potential interactions, um, I get more positivity with interacting with people. And even though there's obviously negativity, it rarely affects me that much. But then again, I don't interact with people that much. So these, like I said, guys, this is, I don't know. I know some people are going to say, oh, you're overanalyzing this shit, but it's kind of what it is. If you have a ton of interactions with tons of people, then you could consider yourself upset often, right? But if you don't have a lot of interactions with a lot of people, it doesn't matter who you are, what your personality is, what their personality is. You're just not going to get upset often because you don't see people that often. So I could get very upset sometimes with certain kinds of people, but it doesn't happen often. So I guess I'm going to have to agree. My travel plans are usually well thought out. Fuck no. It is often difficult for you to relate to other people's feelings. It's not difficult. I make myself, I try to rationalize stuff. It's a conscious thing. It's not that it's difficult. I mean, if they're experiencing something that I've never experienced and it's a bizarre reaction that they have, then yeah, I suppose it's difficult to relate. But I feel like I've experienced so much in my life that I could relate to a lot of stuff, but I just don't want to because I'd rather be rational about things rather than relate. So it's not difficult. It's not difficult for me to relate. I just choose not to. So I disagree. It's not difficult. I just don't do it. Right? But maybe they mean how often do you relate to other people's feelings? But I'm just going to take this literally. So I disagree. I don't find it very difficult to relate to other people's feelings. I just choose not to do it. Your mood can change very quickly. No, not generally. In a dis Well, but then again, I don't know. What's done is done. In a oops. In a discussion, truth should be more important than people's sin. Of course. You rarely worry about how your actions affect other people. Well, it depends on who the person is, but in general, yeah, I don't worry about most people, how my actions affect them, except people close to me. So I guess that would be rarely. Your work style is closer to random energy spikes than to a methodical and organized approach. Disagree. I am often, no, never. An interesting book or a video game is often better than a social event. Not video game. Book, I would have to disagree at this point in time, but that's also because I have more time for solitude and reflection than I do for social interactions, given how relatively isolated I am. So, is that my personality, or is that a reflection of my environment, or is it one and the same? Anyway, being able to develop a plan and stick to it is the most important part of every project. No, the goal is the most important part of every project. Getting it done. Plan and sticking to it, fuck all that. Disagree. You rarely get carried away by fantasies. Yeah, I rarely do. I mean, carried away, what does that mean? Yeah, I don't get carried away. I fantasize, I have ideas, but I don't get carried away by that shit. You often find yourself lost in thought when you are walking in nature. I walk in nature all the time. I'm always in nature. Am I lost in thought? No, I don't get lost in thought. That's a little too much for me. If someone does not respond to your email quickly, you start worrying. You said something. No, fuck email. I don't like email. As a parent, you would rather see your child grow up kind and smart. No, smart. You do not. Wait, did I get that right? Fuck no. I did. You do not let other people influence your actions. Completely agreed. Well, I mean, people I care about, right? I'll let them influence my actions. So, we're gonna mostly agree. When you sleep, your dreams tend to focus on the real world and its events. Yeah, it wasn't always that way, but I guess I've changed. It does not take you much time to start getting involved in social activities at your new workplace. It's been decades since I had a job. New workplace. I mean, I'm usually the boss these days, so I don't like small talk when we're working. I don't really care to hang out with people that I work with unless I hire friends, but they're friends before they're workers. I'm gonna have to disagree, but that's more because of my environment than, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna have to disagree, but I don't know how accurate that is as far as my personality goes. Yes, I am more of a natural improviser. Your emotions control you more than you control them. I'd have to disagree. You enjoy going to social events that involve, no, fuck dress up, role play. It's weird as fuck. Oh wait, I disagree. I don't enjoy going to those events. Well, I mean, see, that's a weird one because I'll go just to look at all the freaks and just to marvel at all the freaks. But I won't do it myself. But there is a. Yeah, it's kind of awkward, and I don't generally want to go. I feel like I'm forced to go, and I do it, and I find a way to enjoy it. But if I didn't want to go, and this is just from years ago because that shit no longer really exists in my milieu, thank God. So I'm gonna disagree. I don't enjoy that shit. Shit's for weirdos. Do you judge people? Where's that one? You often spend time exploring unrealistic and impractical yet intriguing ideas. Fuck no. What's the point of that? You would rather improvise than spend time coming up with. Wait, didn't they already ask me this one? Yeah, I agree. You are a relatively reserved and quiet person. I used to be. Not anymore. If you had a business, you would find it very difficult to fire loyal but no, I disagree. You often contemplate the reason for human existence. Never. Wait, do I? No, I don't. I don't contemplate that. Logic is usually more important than heart when it comes to, of course. Keeping your options open is more important than having a to-do list. I guess it is. Yeah. If your friend is sad about something, you are more likely to offer emotional support than suggest, no, 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 no. I would suggest ways to deal with the problem. You rarely feel insecure. You have no difficulties coming up with the. And even when I do feel insecure, I find a way to feel secure in something else, as I discussed before. So it's a fleeting insecurity, if anything. You have no difficulties coming up with a personal timetable. I actually do. I actually do. Being right is more important than being cooperative when it comes to teamwork. Well, that's a difficult one because, yeah, well, I mean, I guess it is more important. I really don't know, to be honest. I recognize the value of cooperation, but now we're going to disagree. See, I mean, it's like I could fail this test, right? You think that everyone's views should be respected regardless of whether they are supported. Fuck no. I completely disagree. Facts. First and foremost, facts. You feel more energetic after spending time with a group of people. See, that depends. That really depends. If I hadn't had a lot of contact with groups of people for a while, then I guess I'm energized. But if it happens often enough, I guess I'm going to have to agree because I don't spend a lot of time with groups, among groups of people, right? It energizes me because I have a lot of solitude. You frequently misplace absolutely all the goddamn time. You see yourself as very emotionally stable. I would have to agree with that. Your mind is always buzzing with unexplored ideas and plans. Sometimes buzzing. You would know I'm not a dreamer. You usually find it difficult to relax when talking in front of many people. I'd have to disagree. Yeah, I used to be that way. Generally speaking, you rely more on your experience than your imagination. Agree. I worry too much. No. If the room is full, you stay closer to the walls, avoiding the center. No. Yeah, I know. I like to be the center of attention. I feel like they already asked that question. You have a tendency to procrastinate until there is not enough time to do everything. Yeah. Well, no, it's not procrastination. I guess it is, but it's not like I sit there and not do anything. I just do something else. And there's always enough time. I don't feel like there isn't enough time. But when I'm in, yeah, okay, that would be okay, I guess, because when I have a deadline. But then again, sometimes I sit there and I wait for the hour to come because I'm so ready. So yeah, it really depends on the situation. You feel very anxious in stressful Well, who doesn't? If it's stressful, you're anxious, right? Don't they kind of go hand in hand? I don't really understand the point of this question, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, if it's a stressful situation, then anxiety comes with stress. But what might be a stressful situation for somebody else will not make me anxious, meaning it's not stressful for me. So, see, this is the problem with these tests, unless I'm just dumb. You believe that it is more rewarding to be liked by others than to be powerful. I don't give a fuck if people like me, but I don't really care to be powerful. But if I had to choose, yeah, it's more rewarding to have power than to be liked. And I'd rather boss people around to get shit done than have them like me, even though I'd like both. But yeah, one does take precedence over the other. You have always been interested in unconventional and ambiguous things. Yeah, I have. You often take the initiative in social. I sure do. Ooh, we're done. Results, results, results. Let's see. ESTPA, entrepreneur. I guess that makes sense. I guess that does make sense. Haven't had a job in decades. Mind, extroverted. 3/4 extroverted, I guess. Energy. Wait. Observant rather than intuitive. Nature. Thinking over feeling. Tactics. Prospecting. Identity. Assertive. Well, there you have it. Entrepreneur. Hope you liked the video. I think I did.